Greetings, my internet friends. Welcome to Walking and Talking, the show where I walk and talk. I'm thinking that in order to get things started here, that one approach is to adopt a falsely enthusiastic mindset. That is, to purposely adopt a positivist thinking, which I know is, a bias, it's slanted, but simply for the purposes of getting past this first little chunk where sometimes I'm a little bit too overwhelmed by embarrassment in order to keep going. However, already I'm just noticing that I've been able to speak at least one run-on sentence. Maybe that was a few run-on sentences. I wasn't counting, but merely the fact that several words have been said is I'm just gonna go ahead and say that's great. I'm doing a great job. I'm patting myself on the back for having spoken any words at all so far. It's not an easy thing to do, and as you can see, I've managed to say several words, which really, strictly speaking, is all that I'm required to do, is to fill time with words here. And without resorting to any storytelling or other such devices. I mean, that's not true. We've got plenty of devices, and in fact, this is a device. And it's as if I am trying to accept right off the bat the fact that, relatively speaking, everything that I say will be bullshit, but hello. And particularly at the beginning, starting out of no context, always feels like a challenge. But then, as I go on, the process creates its own context, I believe. But also, while maybe this is a useful strategy, that of adopting a positive mindset, positive thinking, the power of positive thinking. I know that really that's not the crux of what we're here for. And so I would, now that some time has in fact elapsed, try to get down to business. Although, as I say that, I had an intimation that we may be perpetually trying to get down to business here. Maybe we're eternally trying to get down to business here without ever actually getting all the way down to where the actual business is. You know what I'm saying? And maybe in fact it is better that I experience the pain of embarrassment as I try to think of things to say, or as I think about what I'm doing or why I'm doing this. And it seems as if every decision of what to say next, maybe in some small way, entails some kind of decision about what the quote-unquote purpose of this is, or what I'm doing or why I'm doing this. And also how I want to relate to you. And this all seems to have the quality of a preamble, but also I could imagine that this preamble could continue forever without ever getting to the actual amble, let alone the post-amble. And I think that I am prepared to accept that this might be all preamble, if you will, or all a type of not exactly filler, but like all just a lengthy introduction, but an introduction to nothing. But let's get down to business here, and I consider that another aspect of preamble. I constantly promising the idea that we're actually going to dig into the meat of the subject at hand. Just constantly acting like we're about to dig into something, anything. And as I prepare to begin the actual substance of this episode of Walking and Talking, several possible ways of proceeding present themselves to me. Which I am considering based on a number of factors. One of the factors being how familiar it seems to me, that is, one such given way of talking, and its familiarity is a detractor in my mind. That is, I'm afraid that it's going to be tiring, not just to you, dear listener, but to myself. However, I'm also quite aware of the potential virtues of engaging in something that's really boring. Just diving headlong into the boredom or the tiresomeness, because after all, isn't this what this ostensibly already is? Even the fact that I am here walking and talking at the moment for the 100 and whateverth time, doing the same thing over and over again, and wouldn't it be fine, just fine, to continue speaking in a way that I've spoken before, and by experiencing the boredom of it, the tiredness of it, the hackneyedness, the hearing myself repeat the same old patterns of thought over and over again, and to bore myself to tears and to embarrass myself to myself. Isn't that like passing through the fire that could mold me, or that could tear me down into a realm of greater potentiality? For newly combined thoughts. I think so. That sounds pretty good, actually. To just go forth. But I guess that what is suggested is ambivalence as to whether a way of thinking or speaking is repetitive or not, because in the way that I just described, if I'm experiencing it being repetitive, then potentially I am going through the uncomfortable experience of tearing apart my repetitive patterns, moving through that process into, some primordial state of relative mental potentiality in which what would appear to be as novel thoughts or a sense of discovery could emerge. On the other hand, if what I'm saying does not strike me as repetitive, then similarly there's not really a problem, and that maybe that is the goal already achieved. But then again, I recognize that I am speaking in terms of value judgments. I am speaking in a framework of valuation in which novelty and discovery are valued over repetitiveness. And I think that the very thing that I'm doing, I would hope, is maybe an expression against that valuative dichotomy. As in, not being attached or attracted to novelty in experience or novelty of experience. But I mean, mainly it's like actually getting away from the actual dichotomy of meaning between sameness and difference, or newness versus the recognizable and the boring. Because, and now this actually is a thought that is recognized to me, maybe it's recognized to you, that more of the same is different. And to me, this bears out in experience that, in fact, one of the most surefire ways of experiencing something different is to keep experiencing the same thing for a long time. I mean, you do the same thing and you just pass through such a wide variety of experience while doing the same thing. You can get tired and bored of it, and then the boredom will turn into something else. You can experience the same damn thing in a way that feels totally new. You can experience the loss of distinction between newness and oldness, sameness and difference. I mean, just to be able to walk here and fill up time with talking feels so nice to me. But especially when I can feel relieved of some pressure to do something particular with the talking. I don't know about you, but I can get so tired of even the posture of like gaining anything. And now I'm thinking mainly about the activity of consuming media. You know, it could be listening to somebody talk. It could be listening to music. It could be watching a YouTube video. It could be reading a book. sometimes I just get really tired of a position that any such article of media, instance of media is trying to put me in, of doing anything for me, of teaching me something, of entertaining me, of morally edifying me. And don't get me wrong, like, all of these things are important, especially entertainment. I love to be entertained. But sometimes it's like, I'm looking for a way of being in time that's not productive. That's neither productive nor entertaining. That's not doing anything. That's not like, doesn't make me feel like I'm doing intellectual or spiritual work or improving myself or helping the world, or even like aesthetic pleasure you can get tired of. Or even of the idea of learning. I can get tired of sometimes. But it's kind of a weird no man's land to try and walk through, because I know that even the very language that I'm using is perhaps geared towards trying to do something, trying to impart knowledge, or to convince, or to edify. And then, of course, the paradox that I'm getting into right now is that I'm actually laying out to you a particular position that I'm claiming to adopt for myself and in relation to you. And I'm I'm already making a case for it. I'm making an argument for it. I'm explaining to you the reason, a reason for what I'm doing, or explaining to you what it is that I'm doing. And already there, I'm going wrong. We're going wrong. You and I. I mean, we're not actually going wrong, but we're doing a hypocrisy in that we are, by explaining this position, we're doing the opposite of it, which is like constructing a function. We're kind of manufacturing a functional niche in the world. I mean, one could argue that we're to some extent doing that all the time. But I tell you, I get tired of learning when I get the sense that all of the knowledge that's going on is just translative, as in it's just cutting up reality along different lines. And I have a sense of the arbitrariness of where the lines and distinctions are drawn. And like which framework we use to understand reality feels arbitrary at times. Now, of course, this is like the super privileged position, whereas like this arbitrariness of knowledge I mean, I think it really means that we're in a situation where the knowledge needed for survival seems like it's just already secure enough that there's no immediate impetus to add to it or gain to it. But then again, honestly, that's the position of being in this particular situation right now of walking and talking, being relatively removed from practical concerns of you and I having our basic needs relatively met. But then again, I don't want to overly reduce this situation that you and I find ourselves in simply to a privileged position of leisure time, because I tend to find that the opposing position, that of feeling like there is immediate practical needs, that there are immediate practical problems that need to be addressed, has the potential to balloon to fill all time. As in, let's say I was not walking and talking right now, and you were not listening to walking and talking right now. I find that in the absence of this self-imposed stricture, that the practical problems would just keep presenting themselves. Like, I would just continue to be solving or attempting to solve what seem like more pragmatic issues all day. But when I do break away from that in order to make the time to do this, I find that quite often those pragmatics, they either, if not disappear, they'll wait, you know? As in, I can do this, and a problem that previously seemed very real and maybe even pressing would be occupying my mind. But when I'm doing this, it becomes more distant in my mind, sometimes to the point where it loses its reality. Or yeah, I mean really, that it I have this perspective that problem was a part of a particular perspective that might not be a necessary perspective. Have you ever heard someone say or thought about yourself this idea that work always expands to occupy whatever amount of time you have available to do the work? I find that to be pretty true. That, for example, if I know that I'm walking and talking for 4 hours, I'll tend to have just enough physical and mental energy to go for 4 hours, and then I'll be pretty exhausted at the end. Whereas I'm pretty sure if I imposed upon myself that I was going to do it for 8 hours, then I would somehow muster enough energy to do it for 8 hours. Or if I was doing it for 2 hours, I would be tired by the end of the 2 hours. Or let's say you have a certain amount of time to complete a project, and you will continue finding problems and things that need fixed with the project right up until the end of the time you have to do it, right up until the deadline. Like, I can think of myself spending the whole past 2 days working on mundane, pragmatic aspects of life, and I can imagine myself just continuing in that same vein indefinitely. Or I can imagine myself like not having done any of that at all, and still being here and doing this. I mean, it's not magic, and I continue to have to do some amount of practical stuff even to make this possible, to keep the technology running. You know, the camera has issues, the battery has issues. I have to have the transportation to get here, and so on and so forth. To afford this. But what am I trying to say? And you had to do something to make it possible for you to listen to this. I'm not sure what my point was with this particular small tangent. But also, could it be that this type of activity that you and I are engaged in is a type of extension of what we would think of as the pragmatic and practical or survival-oriented activities and needs, as in, is this something like an abstraction of the pragmatic in order to assess really what is or isn't practical or necessary, or to try and assess the principles upon which we might be acting, or to assess things that we might normally take as axiomatic or assumed, that influence or guide the decisions we make about what to do, how to be in the world. Is this perhaps like a strategy towards questioning all these axioms, or questioning all the assumed motivations for doing anything? In some ways, it seems like it could be said to be something like that. I wouldn't go so far as to say that that's entirely what this is, because in a way that would be kind of self-defeating. Like, if I said, for instance, if I asserted that that's exactly what this is, or that's entirely or even primarily what this is, as a space, if you will, to question the fundamental assumptions that guide us in life or something, then I would thereby be assigning a pragmatic function to this activity, which itself would have to be based on some kind of assumption that that's a good thing to do, or an important thing to do, or even just a worthwhile thing to do. And that would be fake. But then again, I think that it is actually impossible for me to do anything that's not based on some kind of assumption, or based on some kind of ground that goes unexamined, that goes unquestioned and unseen even. You know, whether this ground be like a moral or ethical axiom, or philosophical axiom, or metaphysical axiom, or even something perceptual, where I'm necessarily not perceiving some aspect of the apparatus that is doing the perceiving, or doing the questioning, or doing the reflecting, so on and so forth. I'm assuming now, and I guess I assume this based on experience of doing this and other things. What's up, turtles? That there's always some ground that is unexamined, or that is that I'm blind to, or that whatever perspective is being taken and questioning anything, that even to have any perspective at all, there has to be something that's completely missed, that is completely in the dark, or unknown, or that I'm ignorant of, or that I just necessarily won't be seeing. That I'll be markedly missing. That'll be decidedly a gap, or a hole, or an incompleteness. But then this brings me to the question of, why then are we even in this position of questioning or examining, or whatever it is that I am suggesting we may be doing? And it's not just because it is kind of necessarily always incomplete, but why is it then that we are in this position of seeming to have a perspective at all, even if the perspective is that of trying to examine our own perspective? I mean, particularly knowing, well, I guess I don't know if we know this, but that in order to even question any aspect of our worldview, we have to be positioned on some kind of assumption from which to make that question. We have to be oriented in some direction to look at the aspect of reality that's in question. We have to be oriented away from some other aspect of reality. I think that's the case. I think so. anyhow, that's kind of what seems apparent to me through this activity of walking and talking for 4 hours, where I keep going and I don't get to a place of conclusion. I don't even end up in a place that I can assert in any unqualified way that there's something like growth or development or expansiveness occurring. That's not really true. In sort of a generalized way, I would have to admit that there are many instances in which I would describe my experience broadly as expansive. But then, of course, with many caveats and qualifications, and knowing that that term or description itself is dichotomous and reifying some kind of duality. But that's fine. There's really no problem with dualism. But then it makes me ask, would it be possible, and then of course I have to ask, would it be desirable to be in a state that is outside of any kind of orientation towards truth or away from truth, towards truth or non-truth, or that is simply outside of that distinction? And is speaking in normal language, does that preclude that from happening? Is speaking in normal English language with normal syntax and so on and so forth, does that condemn us to perpetually moving down, infinitely regressing wormholes? But that doesn't sound bad when you put it that way. Just moving through infinite wormholes. I mean, that sounds kind of the same as if we were to be outside of this linguistic framework, say if this were poetry. But I think that this is very decidedly not poetry. Whereas I think that poetry would be, I would describe it as something like suggesting a lot of alternate lines of meaning for reality. That is, using language in a way that would require one to interpret lines of meaning that could very possibly be alternate from the normal ones. But the way that I'm speaking in just normal English, completing normal sentences, I think kind of just keeps us in the realm of normal reality. And but maybe, I don't know, this is interesting. Why? I don't know, maybe it's not interesting. Maybe it's actually uninteresting. It's just long. I think it being long is really the only abnormal thing about it. Like, and so, I mean, so it's like, what are we experiencing right now? As I'm talking and I'm like hearing myself talk about how this is just normal language, and maybe it's uninteresting, and that's how I feel. Maybe this is uninteresting, or maybe it's interesting. I'm actually not sure right now whether this is interesting or not. And then I'm also like, okay, if it's not interesting, why is that? And I guess the implicit answer would be because it's just normal. And then I think to myself, okay, yeah, this is pretty normal. Like, I'm having a pretty normal experience, I would call this. I'm simply walking and talking, and I think that my mind is simply operating in the normal way. But then in that I sense like just some slight tinge of something slightly mysterious or slightly abnormal. And maybe one way I could articulate that is that when I hear myself say that I'm just having a normal experience, this is just normal. This is just normal reality. I realize that It's like that actually seems like a very strange experience. That to just be thinking to oneself like this is just normal. With regards to the quality of experience or reality, or like just asking yourself, what is reality like at this moment, and then being like, it's just normal. And my initial impulse is like, well, we gotta fix that. We gotta mess this up somehow. Or we gotta add something to this to make it remarkable, or strange, or novel, or noteworthy, or to be adding something to this experience for me and for you, to make it memorable, to make it stand out, to make it a memorable experience, to make it stick out in your memory and my memory, or something. Like we need something more here, is my impulse. My initial impulse. Like, and for me, my proclivity, and I don't know if you share this proclivity, is that, like my impulse is to want this to be tripped out, if you will. Is I want this to get trippy. Or my impulse is to be like, this is not trippy enough. This is not sensually or conceptually strange enough. And then I asked myself, what if it doesn't? What if it just remains normal? Like the whole time, completely normal. What if there's nothing centrally or intellectually jarring that goes on? It is there was a deer and a lady filming the deer or photographing the deer. All very normal. And then I ask up, are you and I just enduring this normalcy? And then I ask, is that something interesting or worthwhile. And then obviously implicit in what I'm saying is perhaps the notion that if we simply endure the normal or accept it or continue in this normalcy, we'll discover something different about it, or our experience will change. And I feel myself falling down a very familiar pathway that seems like it's like really familiar to like various spiritual things and new agey things where like I'm actually trying to change my experience by accepting my experience. And then it is actually just paradoxical. Any way you slice it, like I have this impulse for my experience to be trippy, and then I'm like, maybe the real trippiness is to endure in the mundane until the mundane opens up to reveal its trippiness. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm actually like trying hard to remain in the mundane for that reason, so that it'll change into something that isn't mundane. So I am being hypocritical. I am being fake. I am in this state of wanting something. And then I'm just kind of verbally to myself and to you, continually kind of reframing this state of want, or state of desire, or state of this not being enough. But also the implication contained in the way I'm talking right now, it's just a continuation of that. It's just implying, well, it could be other, like you could be existing in a state without desire or want, and that would be better, is the implication. And I'm like, why do I have this predilection to be like that? But then this is just more of it. This is just me saying like, oh, I could be I could be free. I could free myself potentially from the desire to be without desire, and then I would really be without desire. So it just kind of continues like in a never-ending cycle like that. And it's just kind of one of the stupid things that you get when you walk and talk for 4 hours. These kind of cycles. However, it strikes me as somewhat interesting as like a way of it's at least like evading other modes of speaking. It's at least one way of just filling up time with words. But I mean, since I've been speaking in a way that seems so focused on the linguistic framing of everything, maybe it occurs to me that that is, in some sense, a superficial mode of examining experience, or it's a surface layer of this experience. So the alternative would be to if I wanted to speak quote unquote more directly about experience, then maybe it would be about the sensual aspects of experience. That is to examine what I'm sensing with the assumption that that is somehow a more direct experience of reality. But now as I try to do that, as I try to direct my attention towards what I would call my senses, I feel actually a little confused as to where I would start, because it's like I know that I can. It seems almost arbitrary. For instance, which sense I would start with to describe, and then I'm kind of realizing that every way that I would start to describe the sense is in a way interpretive. I mean, I don't think it's like arbitrarily interpretive, as in I don't believe that I could, by will of my thought, drastically alter my sensed experience. But like for instance, if I say that I feel the breeze on my arms, I'm realizing I'm making a couple of distinctions there, and using a couple, I don't know. I hate this because I feel tired of pointing out that something like the breeze is a conception, And even my arm is a type of conception. And I could go down the well-worn pathway of deconstructing those conceptions and then describing my sensual experience in terms of other concepts, like that it's actually just a feeling of pressure or coldness, or the exchange of energy on my skin. But then when I say skin, then I would go further and say that the distinction, the boundary between my skin and the rest of the world is in my mind, and so on and so forth. And therefore I would deconstruct my dualistic notions of myself and other. But then I feel discouraged from doing that, knowing that all the ways that I could do that are just further conceptions, are just, further types of worldviews. I feel tired of having any kind of compulsion towards asserting my oneness with the world, or something like that, or compulsion towards like totally deconstructing my identity. Like I don't feel any point in that. I don't feel any point in any of that trippy shit right now. I'm tired of that. You can go watch one of the previous walking and talking episodes. Watch one from like I don't know, 2-3 years ago for that kind of stuff. Let's just get back to, you know, the meat and potatoes of this, which is just talking. I got to keep reminding myself to just keep talking. That's the point. It's like I keep getting going, talking, and then the talking starts to, you know, it starts to keep serving all these other purposes. That aren't the point. I'm just trying to keep going here, talking without the talking either serving or using. All these other ideas and modes and purposes. Just pure talking. Can we achieve that? I highly doubt it. I don't think we can. But we're trying anyways. Is it even possible? I mean, it's like what is the talking doing now? Actually, when I'm talking about the possibility for talking not to be communicating anything. And for it not to be poetry, for it not to be a tool for sensual stimulation or intellectual stimulation, that is, for it not to be serving the purpose of sensual or intellectual novelty or sumptuousness. Or satisfaction. For it to not necessarily be satisfying to you or to me. For it to exist independently of the question of satisfaction or dissatisfaction. And I suppose if I take an account of my general memory and feeling of this episode of Walking and Talking thus far, I would kind of say that we're managing to exist independently of the question of satisfaction, because I would say that so far my experience, and I'm assuming that maybe also your experience insofar as it is influenced and affected by this media, is one that's not markedly satisfying nor markedly dissatisfying. I mean, maybe. But insofar as this talking is concerned, but now I'm asking, is the talking actually doing what it's talking about? That is it actually happening apart from ulterior motives? Or is it serving an ulterior motive by describing this, by describing its own potential motive, describing its own potential modus operandi? Is it just attempting to justify itself? And if it is attempting to justify itself, then couldn't it be said that it is in fact operating by a particular external logic, namely the need for the talking to have a logic or to have a justification? Aren't I the way that have been speaking about the speaking's possibility of existing independently of ulterior motive or function? You know, even potentially evading the functions of poetry. Isn't this then just a reification of the very logic of needing to have a function? That is, that when we're defining something in opposition to something, we're reifying it and linking ourselves to it. What's up, turtles? And then, so it's like, if that's the case, what would be the suggested alternative to that? I mean, I suppose that it's once again the same thing that I've described, which is for the language to exist independently of any relation, whether that relation be congenial or adversarial. To its having function, to its having purpose. And it would kind of seem as if we're engaged in some kind of quest to avoid purpose. But all the while, the language is completely imbued with that purpose. Know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like to me. And then I wonder, is it even the case if we just like go ahead and submit the language to some other purpose? Is it possible that even within the role of serving that purpose, is it somehow just as free or something like that? I don't know. Maybe not. Do we have to be completely ambiguous with regard to purpose and or pleasure and or satisfaction and or aesthetics? Would that be a fair descriptor of the general attitude of this, whatever this is? But then also wouldn't that include being completely ambivalent with regard to the purpose of evading purpose? That is, shouldn't we therefore adopt a stance of ambivalence towards whether or not we are involved in a quest for escaping purpose? I would think so. And then like it's like a bunch of different types of ambivalence seem to follow from this course. And I dare say, and I feel temporarily and suddenly emboldened by this implication of ambivalence on all fronts. I'm emboldened to admit that I even feel a slight bit excited by this prospect and its implications for this experience right now, because it's beginning to suggest to me that in this very moment right now, all of these possible metrics of valuations, all of these every single mode by which we might be judging what's going on right now, and by which we might be judging the past and the future of this activity. And I'm thinking here about the duration of this particular episode of Walking and Talking. That ambivalence is appropriate for all of these modes, for all of these modes of evaluation. To such an extent that this ambivalence is swelling to engulf this entire experience in a way that I'm cautiously willing to say feels quite uplifting, actually. The fact that I can now no longer worry about the whole preceding duration of this episode of Walking and Talking, as in I cannot worry about it whether it sucked or not, whether it is sucking or not, and whether it will continue to suck or not. Because this question of sucking or not is being completely dissipated. In a cloud of ambivalence that feels like relaxation, that the emotional equivalent to this like evaluative dissipation is one of chillaxation, I would say. And furthermore, you and I are relieved of our vigilance against chillaxation. You know what I'm talking about. Our vigilance against blithely enjoying experience. Perhaps in a sense because our enjoyment of this experience may no longer be blithe. In fact, in a relative way of speaking, I would say that it's relatively lucid. It's a relatively lucid enjoyment of this experience. That is, and we're no longer concerned. We're no longer worried about making some sort of misapprehension about what this is, because we know that we are continuously misapprehending, that it's all misapprehension. Or more frankly, that it just doesn't matter. At this moment in time, it does not matter if we're misapprehending something, if we're getting reality wrong right now. That is a cool bird right there. You probably can't see it. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can see this cool bird. All right, it's in the frame, but I fear that it's really too small in the frame for you to see, but I don't recognize that bird that's sitting on the log there with a long beak and it's brown. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But then, you know, what if an inkling of fear, inches its way in? A fear of, wait a minute. What if this liberation is false, in a sense? Or what if it is completely fleeting? What if it goes wrong? What if it is wrong? What if we have to pay for this blitheness? What if we have to pay for this time of our spirits being blithe? What if we have to pay for this subjective experience of lucidity and absence of worry and this just liberal application of ambivalence throwing around ambivalence in every possible direction that we see. What if this lassitude weakens us? And then the harsh side of reality catches up with us. What if? And it seems like this question can be equally captured by both sides. The light side and the dark side, in the sense that in our deep ambivalence, this possibility of our spirits falling or withering or what's the word? Atrophying. And our blitheness. That possibility is covered by the ambivalence. That's accepted. That's part of it. That's part of the reality that we're ambivalent about. That's accepted. But then, on the other hand, we can predict that at some point in time we'll have the experience of not being so blithe, of not being so refreshingly ambivalent, of feeling trapped in various cycles of distinctions made, evaluations made, orientations adopted, positions adopted. Orientations towards something, away from something else. Places where we'll be trying desperately to get back to that blitheness. To feel satisfied. out in the open, seeming to have some perspective over all of our various perspectives. In which we seem to feel like they all are acceptable. But then, isn't it okay to be paying the price? It's the price you gotta pay. Is it possible to know that you're paying the price when you are indeed paying the price? Maybe conceptually, maybe abstractly, but I would say decidedly not experientially. As in, when you're paying the price experientially, you're paying the price. And you can't eat the cake and have it too. Actually, technically you can when you're having cake. That is another way of saying eating cake. Some people say, like, you know, let's have some cake. What they mean is eat some cake. But no. You can't actually embrace the struggle. Look at that bird. Oh, you probably can't see it. Another weird bird. You can't embrace the struggle, or it's not a struggle. You know what I'm saying? A cormorant, maybe? Looks kind of different than the ones that I usually see. Even when you really feel like you're not paying the price, I think that's when you're really paying the price. When you're like asking yourself, damn it, how the fuck do I start paying the price, because I'm not doing nothing here. Nothing's going nowhere. I'm not paying. I need to start paying. That's when you're actually paying. Except for the cases when you get excited. But then Is that like when you're spending? I feel like you gotta spend if you want to pay. Isn't spending also paying? Enjoying? Enjoying the goods? To what extent are we enjoying the goods right now? And to what extent are we paying? Can you be doing both in equilibrium? Or is it always in equilibrium? Including the various movements of disequilibrium. Isn't it always just the market correcting itself? Isn't that what this is? Isn't this the market, you know, in its perfect wisdom, correcting itself? Think of everything we had to do to get here. Think of all the very specific things that we had to do to get here. Or at least they sure seemed specific at the time. They seemed quite necessary. And I would say they were in their way. In their own way. They were necessary. But this here retroactively makes them necessary. They were necessary in order to render themselves unnecessary. And that's pretty sick. Think of all the things that you and I will do in the future. And think of how important they will be. But think of how many degrees of contingency that they will have. All these things that we'll do. And they'll necessarily be very specific. But the specific things that they will be are not specific. They won't necessarily be the things that they are, but they will necessarily be things that they are. You know what I'm saying? Now I ask you whether the quality of this experience, whether the quality of this is incredibly fragile or is it robust? What is going on? Could all of this just be pierced at any moment by something going wrong, by making a mistake, by the incursion of some external force? Is this all running on fumes? Is this all simply narrowly afforded? Or is this robust and dynamic and permeable in a unflappable sort of way? Is this well adapted to the world? Let me ask you, is this experience like a sheltered kid? Or is this experience like Rambo? Does this experience wither and faint at the slightest perturbation? Or does it mow its enemies down with a machine gun? Let me ask you, is this an inherently unstable mass of negentropy? That will dissipate at any moment? Or is this equated with the flux of entropy and negentropy? And thereby stably dynamic. Tell me! Tell me, is this a market bubble waiting to burst? Or is this an Austrian economy flush? With tangible assets? And skill sets and infrastructure? Tell me. Are we paying or are we spending? Or are we earning? What is this? Is this here? Is this Democratic or Republican? Does this care about whether it cares? Is this experience American? I like you because you pay. I like you because you know you gotta pay. I like you. Because you're always paying the price. Not afraid to spend. It's yours. You paid for it. Enjoy it. This is yours. It belongs to you. You own this. For now. I got a whiz. What a relief. You enjoy that? Discontinuity between our timelines. You may own this, but you don't own my whiz. That costs extra. I want you to please leave a review of how satisfied you are with this service. Rate and review. Your experience is important to us. anyhow, I was talking about whether it's important for to be adopting a stance of ambiguity towards the stance of ambiguity of talking itself, and whether or not it is ultimately possible to fully enact an ambiguity on any kind of fundamental level or level approaching fundamental, or whether ambiguity itself is only necessarily a relative and conditional state that must be afforded for by a non-ambiguous position on the level below it. In fact, is ambiguity itself inherently unstable, in the sense that when applied to itself, it seems to be self-vitiating. That is, if one purports to be ambiguous with regard to ambiguity, then one would be required to accept a result of non-ambiguity that is, having a position and furthermore, isn't ambiguity a position in itself? That is unambiguous. I know where you live. Inside your skull. In your dome. In your domus. But then I have to ask myself, are we maintaining either still an avoidance of poetry, or are we maintaining an ambiguous relationship to poetry? Is either one of those positions preferable? And the further possibility, is there an eroding distinction between poetry and prose going on? Also, there occurs to me a question around sincerity Also, dear listener, have I gotten irresponsible? Have I become irresponsible in my duty towards you? You are, after all, paying me for the service. Tell me. Have I performed my duties well? Is it worth the price? Are you getting what you pay for? Is it a good value? Is it a fair exchange? What happens if I love my work? Do you think I love my work? But what is love? Are you living a high flow lifestyle? When was the last time you were even in the flow state? Can you even remember? When was the last time you were even at peak performance? Do you even know what peak performance feels like? Do you know what it looks like? I have the right to defend myself, you know. I absolutely have the right to defend myself. But how I do so matters. But I assure you, this is under investigation. Shit, there goes my water. Let me tell you, in everyday life, I'm happy to be a generous guy. In everyday life, you know, I'll treat you to dinner, I'll treat you to lunch, I'll treat you to breakfast. I'll treat you to an Americano with a little bit of oat milk. But in business, I don't cut no deals. This is business. And I gotta behave as a businessman in this transaction, this here. And so I can't make it easy on you. No, that's true. I'm already making it easy on you. I'm already cutting you a deal. This is already a great deal you're getting. Try to find this deal anywhere else. And if you do, tell me about it. Tell me a better deal on this. Tell me a better deal that you could get on this. And I'll match the price. But in all seriousness, I could be doing more to fill up the space. And provide a general sense of continuity. This is pretty nice, don't you think? And then I ask you again, I ask myself, as you may be asking yourself, what is this like? What is this like right now? Is this normal? Is this normal? Or is it abnormal? And if it is abnormal, is it a normal amount of abnormality? Also, what is the normal amount of abnormality? What is the average amount of abnormality? And what are the acceptable boundaries? What are the acceptable levels of abnormality? And I know it's like it is a positive number. The upper limit and the lower limit are positive numbers. They're more than zero. Or if you assert that there is such a thing as negative abnormality, also is negative abnormality a positive degree of normalcy? I want to hear about that. I want to know about it. Bring it to my attention. Show me the numbers. Show me the data. Show me the data. Because this isn't paywall just for nothing. If there's a paywall, there's got to be a reason behind it. Paywalls don't just exist for no reason. Because you get what you pay for. You're currently getting what you paid for. And you can feel that. I can feel it. I feel the energy of the transaction infusing the air, pervading my being. Instilling me with power. I'm drunk off the power of this transaction. As are you. As are you. Because what is money really? What is it? You ever get this feeling like, how could I have been so stupid before? I don't. I consider myself superior to everyone else, and you should too. I mean, I consider myself superior to myself. I could do better. Know what I'm saying? Oh, hold on a second. We got an IRL interaction taking place as we speak. Yeah. We gotta help this truck back up. So I'm gonna let these cars go. All right, you clear now. You still got room? If you turn this way, you can go straight back here. Are you trying to get this way?
Can I go this way?
I don't know this road that well.
What I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to go this way, then back up.
If you back up straight, I think you might be able to turn this way. You clear behind you. You totally clear behind you.
What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna try to go this way and back out.
One second. You want to go forward? No, you clear behind you. You're clear behind you. Yeah. You going this way? God, sorry about that. You know what I like about you? You're patient. Also, you know what I like about you? You let me do my thing. You let me be me. You afford me a lot of space, I would say. In fact, you're very trusting. I like that a lot about you. The fact that you'll trust me to take a lot of liberties with regards to our interaction. Even when you're not entirely certain of what the outcome will be. Even when I'm not entirely certain. But you and I, we trust the process, you know what I'm saying? But it's also paradoxical, the issue of confidence, confidence, whether I should be confident in this product or not. It's like it's as if apparent confidence would result from true inconfidence or humility. Like I'm more confident in you, knowing that you're not overconfident. But let's not discuss this any longer. Because this here is important, I believe. I mean, it makes itself important. In a way that a lot of things can self-import themselves. Can self-import. Those were the best tasting blackberries I've ever had. And you and I know that is bullshit. That even the premise of that statement is baloney. But I think you know what I mean. I think you know what I mean. I know you well enough to know that I don't have to spell it out for you. It's just good old entertainment. That's all this is. There's nothing wrong with that. You show me a guy, you show me a person, you show me an entity that doesn't like some good old entertainment. I'll show him an experience that mows him down with a machine gun. You know what I mean by that. Mows them down in a good way. Hey, we ought to keep ourselves mowed down. Instead of mowing the grass, why don't you mow yourself for once? Because you need it. Mow yourself down. For Christ's sakes. Freedom, but at what cost? But at what price? Get him out of here. I hope you realize this ended a long time ago. I don't think you noticed the ending. This has just been me talking. You know, this hasn't been the actual thing for a long time now. I hope you weren't thinking this was actually it. It's been over for a while. You know, this is just regular talking at this point. This is just normal talking. Dang, I feel a real physiological disequilibrium impinging on this experience. I hope you are ready for a brief discontinuity in our timelines. There, that wasn't so bad, was it? But actually, there's been no discontinuity whatsoever. It's still now for both of us. Still just this. Oh well. Still just you, and it's still just me. Still just this freedom. It can't never go away. God damn it. We're just condemned to freedom. Till the day we die. Even after that, but we pay the price every day. I'm in like a stupor. I guess that's what I wanted all along. That's what I wanted. I got what I wanted. I'm in a stupor of abnormality, of trippiness. It's trippy, okay? I got what I wanted. It's sufficiently trippy, okay? It changed, okay? Something changed. Something became different. Distinctions vanished or dissipated. We felt rich with possibility. Oh, sorry to disturb you. We felt exalted in some primordial zone. Where we felt with great significance. All of the different possible lines of fragmentation. Or just, we felt, let me say that more clearly. We felt like it was cool the way it seemed like we could say anything. That everything that was said had like a rich contingency to it. Like it didn't need to be said and it needed to be said. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Like it wasn't expected beforehand, but then afterwards it seems like it makes so much sense. Like, what a perfect song, man. Like listening to Fish, man. It was like listening to Fish. The band. That is going to be the next series, just listening to Fish for 4 hours straight, over and over and over again. Going on tour, man. Yeah, that is the next series, just going on Fish tour, going to every concert. Paying the price, paying the full price of admission. Paying full price, that's what it's going to be called. Paying full price. You know what? I am Blythe. And you should be too. You deserve it. We are literally doing the work. We are here showing up. And I'm very inspired by what you are doing in terms of all your efforts in listening to this. All the work that you're doing to listen to this. I'm very inspired by the whole team. I'm very inspired by the whole walking and talking community. You know, the community. The way we all support each other. You know, we're changing ourselves as we change the world in our own little way. God, I can't wait to be fucking done with this. I'm not serious. But I love this feeling of longness. It is like nothing else, man. You get out there, you just do something for a long time. Whew! You get that long feeling. Long it out, man. Long it out. That's what I always say. If it feels fucked up, just long it out. But don't wait to long it out. Do it now. Long it out now. There's no better time than the present to do something long. You know what's cool about you and me is that we just don't give a fuck. But that's not really true. I mean, we care about things. You know, not just about it's not like anything goes. It's just like, you know, like not, it's just like not caring in a certain way, like caring but not caring. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to go with the flow. But still like be able to, you know, assert yourself and your needs. Make your voice heard while trying to also hear others. Like what I'm really working on now is like really like showing up, you know, and that can mean like, you know, like making sure that my needs are really met, but like, you know, trying when I can, like just to make it known that I'm not like asking that of you, but I'm not like making a demand upon your needs. I'm not trampling over your needs. However, I'm just like asserting what my needs are and they need to be met. So I'm like I'm showing up by making myself heard and known, and like I need to be seen, but also that I see you and I hear you, and like I'm seeing that you're needing also to be seen and heard, and that I'm seeing that you have these needs that are needing to be met, And I'm just like, I can't be that for you right now. You know what I'm saying? In that way. But I'm saying all of this from like a position of love. For you. So when I hear you saying that when you see me saying that I have these needs that need to be met, I feel hurt because I want you to know that that I do understand your need, that I do hear your needs, and see that you see this, but that I'm making a request to be seen, that I'm hearing you. I think that I need just a little bit of acknowledgement sometimes. Of the efforts that I'm putting forth to show up for you. And I think that sometimes I just need a little bit of acknowledgement that I am actually doing a lot of emotional labor to acknowledge your needs. And I can see that maybe your need to be seen is not being met in this moment. I just want to say that, like, it could be helpful for you to see someone about that. You know, like none of us are above needing help. You know. So I would strongly suggest that you at least consider the possibility of, like, you know, seeing somebody to help with that. Pretty sick, huh? I feel strongly in several ways that are all canceling each other out. I feel of several minds about all of this. But I think that it's good that we're taking this a multivalenced approach to this. We're not throwing out any possibilities. We're letting all voices be heard. I just want to say that I am blown away. Literally blown away. by all you've done. This has been major. And all that said, I gotta say, to be honest, I'm buckling in for the long haul. And I hope that you'll join me. In this journey. For however long you want to join me for whichever segments you want to join along with me for the journey, I'll be here. You can hop on and off whenever you like. But you know, this is we're getting up to the conclusion of the preamble. And so shortly here we'll actually be diving into it. So I hope this hasn't been too long of an introduction. Remember how I was talking about work expanding or contracting to fill the available time frame? What I mean to say is I'm just about at the end of my goddamn rope. I'm gonna snap any second here. And I think you don't want to be around for that, my friend. Listen, I like you. But you don't want to test me. Listen, you. I have every right to defend myself. Whoa. Rib bone? Brutal. You don't want to witness what's about to happen next. You do not want to see me fly off the handle. Because I'll knock you down. Before you know it. You'll be on the ground before you know what's happening. And then you'll thank me for it. It's good to laugh. We all need a little laugh these days with everything that's happening. We just need a little laugh. I'm just like choosing things to say. Like I think of something and I say, no, not that. Think of something else. Not that one. One more thing maybe. Not that one. Then one thing. Okay, I guess I'll say that. I guess I'll say that thought. I guess that one will do. I guess that'll do it. That'll do her. It'll do for now. Because you can't be too choosy. You can't be inhibited. When you have a show to get on the air, you can't get caught up overly questioning everything. You gotta let something through the gates. It might not be perfect, but it'll do. And the audience, they'll tell you if it works or if it doesn't. Believe me, they'll let you know. I could do another 4 hours of this right now. I'm ready to go. I'm amped up. My spirit is fortified with membership. Full membership. And it's exclusive. This is just bursting with exclusivity. Don't you feel it? You're one of the privileged few. One of the proud. But with this privilege, you also bear a great responsibility. to care for this. To see that it's not used for bad. Oh my God. I think it's just about time to fuck off. And I truly, I thank you. And I'll see you next time. God willing. All right, my friend. Bye.